Today is the first day of Ashadha, which marks the beginning of the monsoon season in India. This day has been immortalized by the Sanskrit poet Kalidasa. In his Meghaduta, we find the famous phrase, Ashadhasya prathama divase, on the first day of Ashadha. The poem is set at the beginning of the monsoon season. So seeing as we're at the same stage right now, let's revisit it. Meghaduta is about a yaksha who's been separated from his beloved wife because he's been exiled from his city for the span of 1 year. Yakshas are a class of living beings similar to nature spirits, and so this one has been exiled from his city for 1 year. The first verse, Kaschit kanta viraha guruna swadhikarat pramattah shapena gamita mahima varshabhogyena bhartuhu yakshashchakre janakatanaya snana punyodakeshu snigdhachaya tarushu vasatim ramagiryashrameshu. Kaschid yakshaha, a certain yaksha who's been exiled from his city for 1 year, is in separation from his beloved wife, and he has to spend it under the soft shade of the trees at a hermitage in Ramagiri. Snigdhachaya tarushu vasatim ramagiryashrameshu. Ramagiri, which is in modern-day Ramtek in the state of Maharashtra, it's a pleasant place, but he's separated from his wife. So despite all the comforts around him, he's still suffering the pangs of separation. This entire poem is saturated with viraha, the pain of separation. And so many months pass by, and on the first day of Ashadha, the yaksha happens to look up and he sees a cloud. Ashadhasya prathama divase megham ashlishta sanum vaprakrida णतगजप prekshaniyam dadarsha. Ashadhasya prathama divase, on the first day of Ashadha maasa, he sees a cloud clinging to the mountain, and it appears as though an elephant is headbutting the peak of the mountain. He's overjoyed at the feeling of some visitor. Pritah priti pramukhavacanam swagatam vyajahara. He welcomes the cloud with love and affection, and he imagines it to be a sentient being. Dhumajyotis salila marutam sannipatah kwa meghah sandesharthah kwa patukaranaihi pranibhih prapaniyah. Although a cloud is nothing more than a combination of smoke, lightning, water, and wind, Dhuma Jyotis Salila Marutam Sannipataha, it's nothing more than a combination of these. But as the poet informs us, a star-crossed lover who's suffering the pangs of separation can hardly distinguish between the living and the non-living. Kamartahi prakriti kripanash chetana chetaneshu. They talk to everything around them, imagining as though it's all living. There's a movie called Cast Away where a man becomes shipwrecked and he's stranded on an island all by himself. He's stuck there for years without anybody around him. And so he begins talking to a volleyball, pretending that it's his friend. So this yaksha, all alone on Ramagiri, separated from his beloved wife, imagines the cloud to be a living being. He personifies it. And so he gives it a message which he imagines it will take and deliver to his wife in Alakanagari. So he guides the cloud from his hermitage at Ramagiri all the way to the city Alaka, which sits on the top of Mount Kailasa in the Himalayas. Along the way, he describes the rivers, mountains, and towns that it encounters. We see very beautiful descriptions of all of these, which we'll cover in upcoming videos. And all of this, the cloud's journey, its delivery of the message, the yaksha's gratitude, all of that takes place in the imagination of the yaksha. It doesn't actually happen. He's just talking to the cloud. But the poet narrates it so beautifully for us that we can't help but root for the yaksha and hope that it actually does happen. So that was a brief tour of Meghaduta. Hope you all enjoyed, and wish you all a happy Ashadha maasa.